Uboat has been just launched, and if you have been following the development of the game and you have been playing the beta until the release day, you probably are very familiar with what's new in the game. But if you are one of those early phase players who played quite a while ago and, well, you were planning to return upon release, you probably won't know all and everything that's new in the game, and that's a lot. So this is a video for that. This is a video for you to know what's new compared with the previous betas of the game until the point that the unstable beta was released and now the complete release of the game. Of course, if you like this content, please like and subscribe, and anything you want to say or comment in the comment section below. During this video, there are going to be several links that I'm going to share with you, and they are all going to be down on the description. This is going to be an overview of the changes of the game. There's not going to be in-depth explanation of each one of the new features. For several of those, I already have videos, and I will link them whenever is applicable. So, yep, let's get going. Now, the first and probably most important part of the new update is the presence of new submarines. Whereas before we only had access to one submarine, the Type 7C. Now there are several of them. One of them is the one that you are looking at right now, the Type 2A. Now we have also a Type 2D, a Type 7B, and a Type 7C41, other than the already present in the game before, the Type 7C. Now, if you're wondering what this little boat is, that's, as I said, is a Type 2A and is modeled with quite a lot of precision. I'm not going to explain in depth every part of the boats, but overall, what I'm going to say is the Type 2A is available only at the beginning of the war. It has a very limited range, you can see here. We are just out of port, remaining 3,700 kilometers. It really gives trouble at the time of reaching very far. So also it has a quite limited amount of torpedoes, a total of 5, 3 on the tubes, because this is a submarine with 3 front torpedo tubes and 2 spares, only 5 torpedoes. A 20mm anti-aircraft machine gun, which you can also use to shoot merchants and to good effect. But overall, this is a submarine that you want to use once you are already familiar with the game. It's really the advanced mode if you are beginning the war with one of these. The other version of the Type 2 is the Type 2D, which is similar to this one, but with range comparable with that of the Type 7, so a much more far-reaching, much more capable in that sense. They are both limited in their top speed. They are slower than a Type 7. The top speed is around 14 knots on the surface. And the other main feature of them is, of course, they are really small. So they are really good for night attacks on the surface against enemy convoys because they are really hard to detect. Of course, once radar is a thing, that doesn't matter. But at the beginning of the war, you can get into convoys with this little sub and do pretty nasty things to them. Again, I don't recommend this for anyone who just began with the game. This is hard mode. So if you begin with one of these, be warned, it's not going to be an easy task. As for the Type 7s, well, there is the Type 7C, this one is one of those, and there's also a Type 7B and a Type 7C41. The difference between them is that progressively they become better and better at diving. The Type 7B can dive not as much as a C, and the Type C can't dive as much as a C41. The particular numbers of each one, I actually don't really know. I probably will do a video about different types of submarines and the particular performance numbers. But yeah, this is mostly the standard one that you are going to use. The difference between them is pretty much, other than the diving depths, is pretty much cosmetic other than in one thing, and that's the torpedo data computer. Now, if we go to the TDC, and I'm going to go into that with more detail later, you will see that you can go now, there's a new station, which is a torpedo data computer. And in this submarine, I'm going to put normal lightning. In this submarine is a model S3. TDC is the more advanced one. And the submarine is the Type 2A and B and D, and the Type 7B. They all carry the previous version, the model C37. The Type 7C and the Type 7C41, they have this one. This is the S3 model. I have tutorials for both of them, and you really need to know how to use and operate these TDCs in case you are using manual aiming, which I highly recommend. You can obviously go with realism settings that allow your officers to shoot for you, but what's a submarine simulator if you can't shoot yourself, right? Yeah, well, I have proper tutorials for both of the models, and I'm going to link them down on the description. Another thing that changed in the new update is there are new things that you can access through your tab menu. The first one of them is the echo sounder. Now you can access and ask for a current echo sounder reading from your sailors instead of having to do them yourself. You can do that, and after a while you will get a report on whatever depth is under your keel. Really useful because now in the map you don't have as accurate readings here. See? Right here you will see the depths of the areas you are on. For instance, here it says 1,000 to 1,500 meters. We don't know truly the actual depth because we don't have a sounding of this area. But if you are pretty close to the shore, for instance, here it says from 20 to 50. Well, what's going to be? If you are here, what's your actual depth under your keel? Well, you will have to do it through the echo sounder. Another thing that's new is the silent run button. Previously, you will have to go to the blue lightning. Now you can activate it whenever, and this will enable all. You can see silent running is active, everything that is happening. Highly recommended if they are destroyers around or you are trying to infiltrate into a convoy or something like that. Another thing there is in the game, and that has changed since the pre-beta version, the 2022.1, I think it was, and of course from earlier versions, is that night surface attacks are right now much more feasible for submarines, at least in the early war, and much more deadly, and you can get away with staying on the surface all the time, something that previously wasn't so easy to do. Now your actual speed on the surface, your actual silhouette towards a target, it really measures against their ability to detect you. And especially so at night, again, there's also the introduction of flares, and those flares will make your life a lot harder during by night. So if the alarm goes off in a convoy, they will begin launching flares all around. They will using searchlights, trying to detect you. But in general, really staying on the surface is a lot more effective than it was before. I have a lot of videos in my careers, and particularly in the U4 and U410 careers, and you will see quite a number of night attacks there. Also, the video you are seeing right now is from one of my videos, and I was never detected here. So, yeah, you can run on the surface. You have to be careful, of course, not to come too close to anything, but it's a lot more feasible than before. There are a lot of new reports and sound cues. There's not just, for instance, if I order full ahead, I won't be immediately answered with a faster, which was the usual thing before. Like that, a lot more when you go out of port, when you are detected, the crew will talk to you. It really helps with immersion. It really does. Another thing that happens is that you have a lot of random occurrences. Maybe someone in the crew has become sick. Maybe someone has stolen something. Maybe there's a breach of discipline, or maybe something as happy as a report of one of the crewmen just becoming a father. So yeah, there are a lot of those things. You, as the captain, have to decide how to deal with those occurrences. According to the fact that now we have a lot more submarines, well, we also have a lot more carriers to begin with. So we have with the Type 2A, we have with the Type 7B, We have several with the Type 7B actually. We have with the Type 2D in different dates, in different places that before we didn't have, because of course before we didn't have those submarines. So yeah, a lot more choices to go with at the beginning of the war. So yes, beginning of the war or beginning of your career, rather. So just choose the one you want to go with and the era that you want to cover at. Maybe you want to, maybe you are suicidal and you want to begin the 11th of December 1944. Who knows? But the fact is, there are a lot of campaigns now to choose from. There are also new settings for difficulty. For instance, you can change the amount of selections you have to choose from each time you begin a new patrol. You can go from 3 choices, 2 choices, or no choices at all. Whatever is said by the HQ, you have to go with it. This, of course, increases a lot the difficulty of the game because there are several campaigns within the game that give rewards, and some of those rewards are skills or even blueprints to upgrade your submarine. So if you are beginning with a Type 2A, you need a blueprint to upgrade to another submarine. So yeah, this really makes life a little bit harder, but if you want to, you can go for it. Now also you have different mission types. You can go for routine, which almost always will give you the orders to patrol an area and sink shipping within that area. But you also can go all the way to varied, which give you a good percentage of missions where you have the goals, maybe infiltrate a port, maybe infiltrate an agent, maybe do recon, maybe lots of different and varied missions. If you want to do mostly realistic and only patrolling areas, well, you can go with routine. And if you want to mix it up, well, go with varied or mostly routine, which is a mix of both. Then we have the headquarters section, and here is the option whether you want to choose your own upgrades of technology by yourself, or you want to leave it to the headquarters, to the machine to decide which look comes next. Again, this is difficulty related. If you want to have total manual control, you can switch it off, and if you want everything coming automatically, you can switch it on. You also have here the size of convoys choice. You can go with large, very large, enormous, or default. Of course, the larger you go, you might have some trouble. So if you have a very good computer, really go with very large or even enormous if you want to. But if you have a potato, well, just stay at default. There are also differences in the crew management side. Now you don't only have schedule, tasks, crew list, and squads. You also have specializations. Now these are this is XP for your crew, not your officers, your crew. Doing missions, sinking enemies, and particularly so when some situation happens on your submarine that you have to make a choice, you will win experience points. And once you are past the progress to next point limit, you will get 1 available point. And you can devote that to a diving, silent running, or discipline. Each one of them have different effects, and well, you can specialize your crew to be really fast at diving, maybe to be really quiet if dives, or maybe to stand better against, well, the pressures and the stresses of battle. Each time you win one of these points, you can choose one of your crewmen, and that crewman will earn 1 point in the given available points. Of course, if you lose that crewman, that point is gone. So you have, it really increases your interest of keeping those special sailors alive. Then you also have dive schedules. Dive schedules are a new mechanic that allows your submarine to, well, automate the hours that you want to be dived at. Maybe at the beginning of the war, you only want to be dived a couple of hours at the morning and a couple of hours at the evening. Remember that when you are underwater, your hydrophone really can hear a long way. So it's a way to automate and diving for searching for the enemy. It also is historical because submarines usually dive very early in the morning and for a couple of hours at the night. Well, just to do sound checks and also to maybe rest a little bit if the weather was very smooth and the sea was very smooth. So in order to choose your boat schedule, well, you do that. You choose the hours you want to be up or down, And then to enable it, you will go here and say in the diving, you will see this button here. This is the dive schedule. When this is enabled, you are running with the dive schedule on. So at the proper hour, the crew will automatically dive your submarine and it will surface again after it. Another thing that we have is now that we have movable gauges, as you can see. And yeah, I'm going to speak about this in a second. So yeah, now you can have several of them up and running. You can put them on automatic here and they will stay there. But if you put one here, you can see it activates again here. So you can put several gauges at the same time up, so you can click commands on them and you can see them all the time. I personally don't use this a lot, but it's an option and it's pretty cool as well. And now on the thing I told you I was going to speak about. Yeah, let's take this out and this out. Now we have an integrated compass. Before, we only could have orders of heading and direction using our rudder. Now we can give proper commands of direction with this. As you can see, there's two numbers. One is the relative to your submarine, so maybe you can turn 60 degrees to starboard. Well, you can choose that. Or maybe you want a heading. That's the lower number. Maybe I want to go to the north. So I will point there and click north. Of course, now I'm in a dock, so that's nothing. But yeah, when you are on the surface, that will turn your submarine. You now can do both rudder and heading, which is really, really, really welcome. Another new thing is a proper chronometer, which we also lacked before, unless we have some mods. You can click and begin it, and it will count the time until you stop it. You can reset it with right click. Speaking of new things, we have also a new tool, the bearing tool. In this tool, you can click somewhere and you can see that it will tell you the bearing of one point relative to another. So from here to here, yeah, is directly to the north. From here to here is directly to 180. Another new thing is that this was already in the game, but it has been extensively upgraded. Each time you are in a station, you have this eye up here, you can click on it, and you will access the Uboatopedia, which is a manual which covers every single thing on your submarine, everything, every system. Is explaining how to do everything. It's a very long read, but it's a really, really nice one. So I highly recommend you to check it out, at least for things that you don't understand very well. For instance, do you want to know which radio monitoring, well, this is a rather warning receiver, whatever. Well, these are the models that are in the game and how they work. So you can go to a particular, if you go to this place, well, it's going to explain the bridge was, the periscopes and the UCO, and how they operate, how do some advice. Really, really useful. Really take a look on it because it teaches you a lot about the game. Another new thing that we have in the game is that you can control your torpedoes manually from here. You have the ability to select salvos, manual or gyros, the spread angle of the salvo, the gyro angle, a lot of things. I particularly don't use a lot of this screen because you can do all of it from here and from the TDC. But yeah, that's it adds to immersion. You also have in the stern tube if you are using it, and you also have the switches and switchboard of the firing system, where you can choose to select the tube you are launching, if you want to shoot one or several of them, which ones you are going to shoot at a given time, etc. All of this I already explained in one of my tutorials. I'll link it down in the description. And once again, finally, the torpedo data computer. This is both models, the C37 and the S3, are replicas of actual equipment that the U-boats used during World War II. They are implemented really, really well and very historically accurate. So again, I'm not going to explain all that is here. We have a tutorial about that. You can go and watch it. And but yeah, just know this is huge. This is the best implementation of a torpedo data computer in any game of World War II ever. And forget about Alien Hunter. No. This is it. This is it. It's much better. Even the TDC mode that there was before the beta, this is much better. So learn to use it. Learn to use it because it's a really, especially this model, the S3. They are really advanced pieces of equipment, and if you use them well, you are going to get a lot of hits. Another new thing is that now, if you don't have a visual contact with an enemy, if you have a contact because of sound, a hydrophone contact, or maybe a report from BDU or another submarine, it will be represented with a blue cone, which is pointing towards the direction of the target that has been detected, but you don't have a pinpoint location of where it is, which is really, really good. Particularly so because before it was too unrealistic. Right now it's a lot better this way, honestly. Of course, if you have visual contact with an enemy, it's still going to be pinpoint accurate, which is not really realistic. But well, I hope there are going to be mods to make them a little bit more inaccurate and more realistic. But yeah, the underwater sound contacts are no longer the pinpoint things that you were able to look at. Now they are blue lines, and you have to make a mental picture of where the ship or the contact actually is. And there are a lot of new things. There are a lot of small improvements here and there, and the overall quality of the game is much better here. Improvements on the graphics, improvements on the artificial intelligence of the enemy warships, which is still a bit lacking, but it's better than before. The sea is a lot more realistic. I think the waves are a lot better. The ship doesn't bob up and down as much as it did before. It still does when it's appropriate, but right now, really the submarine looks like a real one. All in all, it's well, the pre-beta version of this game and the release one is day and night. They are absolutely different in many ways. And it's a much improved version than it was before. So yeah, I mean, again, there are a lot of new things in the game. Some of them I have mentioned, others not. I think I have covered the most important ones. I think I have given you a guide to jump directly into Uboat again and knowing what's new and how to enjoy it. If you have enjoyed this overview and you really want to see more of what I do, well, please give me a like and a thumbs up. Anything you want to comment or question or ask in the comment section below. You can support the channel with, well, becoming a member of the channel. The button is down to join, and you can do so also through Patreon. Thank you very much for watching, and see you later.